Welcome back to Lesson 2. We're moving on to a review of graphing. First video in Lesson 2, we're going to look at a general statement of the two techniques we're going to use to solve algebraic equations. Let's do a quick recall from Lesson 1. We remember in Lesson 1 that we were going to focus on two different types of mathematical statements in this class. The first was going to be an algebraic expression. And we say that an algebraic expression is a math statement that does not include an equal sign. We said that algebraic equations were statements that includes an equal sign. So anytime we see an equation, we're thinking there's an equal sign. When there's no equation, we're thinking expression. One of the things that we said is when we are working with equations, we solve these things. That's the verb that we do to equations. We solve them. And we said that the solution to an equation comes in the form variable equals value. So if the variable is x, we would have like x equal to -2. Or if the variable is y, maybe we have y equal 4. That's what a solution looks like. If we remember way back when, we said that the solution to an equation was the value of the variable that makes the equation true. This is how we checked our work. In this class, we have just two techniques that we're going to use to solve equations. We're going to solve equations using what we call an algebraic technique, and we're going to solve equations using what we call a graphical technique. In this video, we're just going to do a brief overview of both of these. Let's start with the algebraic technique. We say that an algebraic technique to solve an equation is to isolate the variable using inverse operations. That's a lot of blah, 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 blah. Stupid mathematicians sounding nerdy. It's true. Whole idea of solving an algebraic equation algebraically, isolate the variable using inverse operations. We will have a special thing to remember in this particular technique. The type of inverse we apply depends on the type of equation we solve. Algebraic techniques isolate the variable using inverse operation. This operation, the inverse we're going to use, depends on the type of equation. So this type of technique is going to change depending on the equation type. If we remember from Lesson 1, we said that in this class we're going to focus on 6 equation types: linear, quadratic, absolute value, rational, power, radical. Each of these equation types is going to have a different inverse. And so we're going to have to study for each type that we have which inverse we apply. Main idea though is algebraic techniques isolate the variable using inverse operations. Get the variable on one side, number on the other side, and the way that we do that is we undo all the operations. That's technique 1, dependent on equation type. Second technique is a graphical technique to solve algebraic equations. And we say to find the solutions, there could be more than one, of an algebraic equation using a graphical technique. We find these solutions by using the graphs of the left and right hand sides of the equation. We'll talk more about that later, but the main idea is to solve an equation graphically, we use graphs of the left and right hand sides. The one thing to remember in this case is the graphical technique is a 5-step program to salvation. We're going to talk about 5 steps necessary to solve equations graphically. The last shout out I'm going to say on this is graphical techniques use the same 5 steps every time. They don't change. Algebraic techniques, we change our approach depending on equation type. Graphical techniques, we apply the exact same 5 steps every time we see them. I'll see you in the next video.